Hello everybody, welcome to the final race of the weekend here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship here at the wonderful Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli. I'm here with Maciej Szymanski, the European Marketing Director of Goodyear. Maciej, welcome to the rather empty grid. How's your weekend going so far?
Yeah, it's good so far. Weather is nice, a lot of visitors here, so yeah, it's getting nice, so good to see excitement and emotions on the grid as well,
Well, that's it. Motorsport is such an emotion-invoking sport, isn't it? There's so many elements to it. It's not just the driver and their machine. You get the teams, the organisers, the partners of the series like yourselves behind the scenes. There's so much going on, isn't there?
Absolutely. No, it's fantastic to see the teams, to see the grid once again, kicking off this year, after more than 15 years of this partnership, and then 2 years as a title partner of the series. Really happy to see that, kicking off again, and looking forward to drive results for those teams on, exclusively on our tires.
And what's the season opener like for you guys at Goodyear? What does that entail behind the scenes? Is it a difficult time? Is it a relatively easy time? How does it go?
Oh, there is of course a lot of organization around this. This series is also a stopover of our drive results show, which is part of the tour that goes around Europe, 15 countries. So a lot of customers with us, enjoying the series, enjoying the emotions, but seeing as well how we can help them to be more innovative, to help them drive results, of their business.
And that's the thing, here in motorsport as well. It's not just you guys giving to the teams, but they give back to you as well. It's a two-way relationship, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely it is. It's all about understanding the performance of the product, the reliability, the robustness on the road, on the track, and then transmitting that into the actual product that is then as reliable, as strong as it is in the probably most difficult conditions, which is the racetrack.
And another one of the beautiful things about truck racing is that it's such a fantastic platform for the industry as well, isn't it? There's not any other motorsport categories in the world that provide such a great research and testing ground for the industry.
Definitely. Motorsport, tires, it's all about the performance of our products. So it pushes the boundaries of our products, and that's fantastic, because we want to challenge ourselves to become even stronger, even better when it comes to our products, right? And then of course that our customers are happy like the teams are. So that's definitely the case. And with the push of the full championship towards even more innovation, and what is very important as well, sustainability, we look forward to this season.
And at the risk of getting myself in trouble, is there anyone specifically that you secretly root for that you could tell us?
No, we are supporting all the teams. So no, we really look forward. It's one big family, and honestly, this is what we love as well about the series. That the relationship between the teams, between the drivers, it's fantastic. It's really something special, and it's in line with the way we want to do business as well.
Well, thank you very much, Maciej. It's a pleasure to have you here on the grid, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So I'm going to go on a bit of a wander then. We're going to continue our grid walks that we've had so far this weekend. I hope you're all enjoying the show. I've certainly been enjoying it. I love it here on the grid at Misano, especially when the weather isn't so British as it was yesterday. But what we're going to do first, actually, is going to take a quick look back at some of the highlights from race 3, the race that we just had earlier on today.
Certainly with the wind blowing and the flags waving in the wind, it was a beautiful sight as the trucks left the grid ready for the first race of the day. And Sascha Lenz really tried everything he could to take on Norbert Kish in turn 1, but ultimately Norby would once again put down an incredible first lap, hold off the other drivers and make a break for the front of the pack. There was some good battling going on in the Promoters' Cup as everybody put pressure on one another. There was unfortunately an issue for Louis Requenco as his truck broke down after losing a component over the penalty markers out of turn 1. And Steffi Halm started a fantastic chase of Andre Kurzim. Antonio Albertetti getting past Jose Eduardo Rodriguez after losing places at the start. And Steffi would finally get the move done, penalty markers or not, and move up into 4th position. There were battles brewing all the way up and down the order, but there wasn't too much position changing from that point onwards. Everybody held station, despite the efforts of Mark Taylor and Heinrich Clementecker. And Norbert Kish took his second race win of the season, second win on the bounce from Sascha Lenz and from Jochen Hahn. a lot of smiles and positive vibes here at Misano after race 3 of the weekend. And don't forget, we have another race coming up for you just a bit later on, which is going to be a great finale to the weekend.
Okay, I'm here on the grid now with Andrei Kurzim. Andrei, a very different day weather-wise to yesterday, but you're still having a good day of it near the front of the grid.
Yes, today it looked like Misano weather. It's very fine and hot. Yes, today was good for us. First race, we can fight over the fourth position. And yes, now maybe we can get a podium in the second race.
And you had a good fight in the first race with Antonio, holding him back. You know, he was filling your mirrors all the way through, but you managed to keep him behind in the first race of the day. Are you hoping to beat him off the line here?
Yes, we have a very fair fight between Antonio and me, and Steffi also. And yes, I think we do it again, and hopefully I can go in the front.
And one of the keys to these races is some of the guys that finished at the front of the previous race coming back through. What's it like trying to defend from them and keep them at bay?
I think we have to manage the tires. I think for us here in Misano a big problem, and yes, I think that is very important for us.
Well, best of luck, Andrei. Thank you very much. Lovely stuff. So Andrei Kurzim starting on the second row of the grid today alongside Antonio Albertetti for this second race of the day. These conditions are wonderful though. It's so sunny here. I wanted to have a quick chat with Jochen Hahn if possible as well, because they've had a fantastic weekend so far, and I'm sure that he's going to be relishing the chance to move forward on this grid and try and get further and further forward into the pack. We've got Diana as well. Hello. And we'll have a quick word with Jochen when he's finished having a drink. You've got to stay cool in these conditions, you know. You've got to look after yourself. Jochen, once again, looking nice and calm ahead of the race. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, you know, I know I'm the third row, place 6. Everything is possible now.
And, you know, you've got your old sparring partner, Antonio, in front of you on the grid. Are you hoping to get amongst it with him in the early stages straight away?
Yeah, he's a really old sparring partner. We make it together many years. And normally 100% respectful. And
yeah.
I hope the best. And for everybody, you know, I wish everybody the best and me a little bit more, and all is fine.
Well, we look forward to it, Jochen, and as ever, you know, it's always good to see you guys coming forward from a little bit further down in the pack. Keeps the racing exciting. Is it something that you sort of look forward to in the weekends, having that fight to go forward in these races?
You never can say something before, you know. Race is race. It is like it is. You must do it without crashes, and then everything is maybe possible.
Thank you very much, mate.
Yeah, welcome.
Jochen Hahn, he always has a good answer for everything, does Jochen? He's such a wise driver. He knows it how it is. I absolutely love speaking to him. He really is a star. Let's see if we can have another chat with Sasha Lenz, shall we? He's just parked up on the grid right now, and he'll be hoping to, I imagine, get out of that very hot cab because, I mean, it's really hot here now. The wind has died down a bit. You'll still see the flags waving around in the wind as well, but I tell you, it is a lot hotter than it was. We're just going to give it a second, actually, before we speak to Sasha, because we're going to be welcoming our wonderful TV viewers in just a few minutes' time. But as you can see, the grid is now filling up. There's people coming all the way down the grid constantly, and to be fair, the trucks are now pretty much all on the grid, I believe. I think we have to wait for one more at the back of the grid, although Louis Requenco was out of the race earlier on, and it seems whatever issue they had, unfortunately, was not fixed between the races. So I don't think we're going to get him at the back of the grid. The back grid row at the moment includes Jonathan Andre and Mark Taylor. I met Mark just earlier in the paddock because we hadn't actually met in person before then, and I made sure that I had a good chat with him to see how his weekend was going. Even though they're a little bit further down the grid, they're really happy with themselves and the performance that they've got in, and they are in a great mindset because of the fact that they are still learning at this point of the championship. You know, they've come over from the British Championship into the European Championship, and it's such a humongous step up in the level of performance of these drivers and these trucks, and they relish the challenge. You know, they love the idea of fighting against incredible drivers like Norbert Kish, Sasha Lenz, Jochen Hahn, Antonio Albertetti, absolute legends of the sport. And hello everybody from the wonderful TV viewership that we have all around the world after just tuning in to the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. I'm Chaz Draycott, your presenter and commentator for this weekend, for the final race here this weekend in the very sunny and beautiful Misano. What a fantastic place to be. We're here on the grid ahead of the final race, and we're going to be speaking to some drivers for you, just to get their thoughts ahead of this last race. Sascha Lenz had a bit of a challenging start to the weekend. Their first qualifying session did not go too well at all, and he started from a lot further down the order, but obviously in the earlier race, starting second on the grid, he got many more points out of that first race. Sascha, a much better day for you today, and not just the weather.
Yeah, the track feels really good. We have a good qualifying, we have a good Super Pole, we have a good race. Nobby is a little bit faster, but yeah, it's life.
And in that second race, when you got underway, knowing that Jochen was going to be right there with you, were you worrying that he could pose a big challenge in that race, or did you know that you had a little pace advantage?
I think we are in the beginning for this year, yeah, and points and points. And for sure, I want not damage my truck or anything, so we will see what we are in the end.
It's a very beautiful truck as well this season, the big change from the purple, the black and green to the purple. Do you ever get to the point where you sort of walk down the paddock and you think, oh no, I'm in this one?
Maybe somebody speak, oh shit, Sascha have to deal with Apollo or not, you know, but anyway, we are happy, we have a good deal with Apollo. I think we make the best what we can do, and after this year we see what we have.
Well, best of luck, Sascha. Cheers.
Cheers.
There you go. Lovely stuff from Sascha Lenz. He's always a good interviewer. I love speaking to him. He's a great bloke. He's really learned his English and got better with it. I'm staring right now at Franz Stahlberg, who I'm going to try and have a chat to in a minute. But we're going to have a quick look at the circuit layout here at Misano. We've got 16 corners over a 4-kilometre circuit that is so difficult to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections here. The first section of the circuit is a very quick chicane. It doesn't look like on a track map you would be able to go that quickly into it. But even in these trucks, they are braking so late, and they are turning in so hard. They're really throwing themselves into it, and they have to manage the weight transfer of the truck as well, which is so difficult in these machines because they have such a high amount of weight that it's really high up over the axles. You know, these are not low-slung GT cars that are right down on the ground. They're not touring cars that are really low to the ground either. They are very high up, all of the weight here. They have over 3 tons measured over the front axle. They have only about 1.5 tons over the rear axle. And of course, the engine in the rear axle carries a lot of the weight as well. So, you know, where these drivers have to focus is in the braking zones and on corner exits so much because of that weight transfer and the way that they can put the power down and get away with using it. Because I was speaking to a few drivers in the paddock just earlier, and they all said the same thing, that especially in the dry, when the traction is so much more important, rather than letting the truck slide slightly like you can in the wet, it's very difficult to be smooth. And that's so important in motorsport in general, but of course here, with so much weight and so much inertia carried by these trucks, you have to be able to just make sure every little input that you do is the smoothest it can be. You can't be just stamping on the brakes willy-nilly, as we say in the UK, and just stamping on the throttle and corner exit and expecting it to behave. You know, you've got 4 wheels on the back, a hell of a lot of torque, a hell of a lot of power, and even just going up through the gears, you'll see these trucks snatch a gear and lift the back end off the ground almost with that much torque, and they'll just go completely sideways. I want to try and have a quick chat with Stefan Fast. I'll get his name right this time, apologies. Stefan has a habit of making my interviews very short though, so we'll see what he can say. I like this, he's getting cooled down very actively. Stefan, staying cool on the grid, my friend. It's very hot now, isn't it, at the front of the field?
Yes, it's very hot, but I'm cool. All it's okay.
Cool, calm and collected. Are you excited for a fight with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez for the Promoters' Cup with all these guys behind you?
Yes, we look what's in the first corner. What can we do? Nothing.
I think you can send it, can't you?
Yeah, now we look for the start and the procedures, and then look what's in the first corner happening.
Well, best of luck, Stefan. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
So Stefan Fast, and he's got a super fan up there. I'm not sure if it's the gentleman in the yellow shirt. He was shouting his bag off up there, loving life and having a fantastic time of it. But we've got a really solid front row here with Stefan Fast and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. They love it. It's fantastic. You know, the fans here are absolutely loving it. There's a big packed grandstand there as well behind us, and it's, to be fair, almost time to go racing here. It's going to be a fantastic final race of the season, and we really hope that you are going to enjoy it as well. I've been told that our Ford F-Max official truck is on its inspection lap now, and I'm going to get back up to my commentary box. I'm not going to get locked out this time, hopefully, and I'm going to try and be as little out of breath as I can be for you all. But before we do that, we're going to look back to an amazing reveal that we were all witness to on Friday night by Jochen Hahn and his amazing Team Hahn racing team and the Iveco e-truck, which they will hopefully be bringing to the grid in future years. On Friday evening, the paddock was privileged to be treated to the unveiling of the very first all-electric racing truck, the e-truck, built by Team Hahn Racing, Iveco and their amazing partners. It looks absolutely incredible, and I was lucky enough to speak to Jochen Hahn about the project. Obviously, it's the first of its kind. There was no data or anything to go off from before. You know, there was no one had set the standard before, so this was a brand new thing.
Yeah, it's brand new, but sometimes in the life you must do the new things and you must look forward, you know.
Everybody here is all super excited for this huge step forward in the technology of truck racing, and of course we're all excited as well to see the truck in action further down the line. And here we go then, the Ford F-Max on its inspection lap around the circuit, just to make sure that there's nothing untoward on the racing surface, nothing to stop us going racing safely. And we hope that, of course, there isn't, because it keeps things nice and smooth here at the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. There's a wonderful shot down the grid of our trucks ready to go from the start of this race and onto their pace lap to get things underway. There is Stefan Farsley, pole sitter, who we just spoke to a moment ago. And like I say, it's very cool, calm and collected at the front of the pack, ready to get this race underway, fighting with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez from the front row. Antonio Albertetti starting on the second row with him as well. Certainly going to be looking for a good fight. And Steffi Halm from the third row certainly hoping to salvage something from this last race of the weekend, where we know that all of the battles do erupt in the most emphatic of ways. It's very, very entertaining, this final race of the day. Almost like the last day of school, like you often get at the end of the season. There's Tony Idden making his way off the grid as well, and my cameraman Fleishy, who I must give a massive thanks to. He's been fantastic all weekend. A real star, carrying around the monstrous RF camera that we have here with Vega Solutions in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And in just a moment's time, our Iveco S-Way pace truck will make its way off the front of the grid and lead the field round. We've got a fantastic view out of the window here in the commentary box at Misano, and our two Promoters Cup fighters on the front row will lead them all the way, and I'm sure they will be checking their mirrors all throughout this race, with Antonio Albertetti and Andre Kurzim in hot pursuit around this very tricky 16-turn circuit. Steffi Halm with her teammate as well, Jochen Hahn,
on the third row of the grid in 5th and 6th position. They'll be hoping for no contact between the two teammates, of course, as the race goes on. And then behind them we have Sascha Lenz and Norbert Kish willing to do battle once again. Here is our official pace truck, powered by bio-LNG as well. Immense amount of emission reduction from this bio-LNG machine at almost a zero cost in terms of performance as well. The Iveco S-Way still very, very quick, still very, very potent as well. And I speak from experience in that regard, because Frank, our pace truck driver, is a real star behind the wheel of this thing. You can see in the way that he throws it through the corners that he really knows what he's doing. He really does throw this thing about. Here's your grid then. Stefan Faas on pole position, with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez joining him on the front row. Those two finishing right near the front of the Promoters Cup in race 3. Antonio Albacete and Andre Kurzim make up row 2 of the grid. Antonio hoping for a much better run now. Steffi Halm in 5th place, with, like I say, teammate Jochen Hahn starting in 6th. He was always cool, calm and collected, wasn't he, Jochen? And once again proving the point that he knows exactly what to say all of the time. Sascha Lenz and Norbert Kish will do battle from the 4th row of the grid. Norbert Kish, of course, winning the 3rd race of the weekend and being reversed on the grid. John Newell behind him in 9th. I spoke to John between the 2 races, and he said he's very, very happy with his performance. He's getting better all the time. Heinrich Clemens Hecker starts alongside him. Mark Taylor, I also had a chat with Mark, as I mentioned, on the grid, and he's really happy with the progress they're making. And he's alongside Jonathan Andre, one of his sparring partners from that earlier race. And Louis Riquenco in 13th position, unfortunately, has not taken to the grid for this race. He's going to be either starting from the pit lane if they can get it fixed, or he will be just not starting the race at all, which is a real shame. But we saw the humongous component that came away from the truck earlier on, and it looked like quite a serious amount of damage that would have stopped it in its tracks down at turn 1. So the whole field now makes its way around turn 10 at the top of the circuit, which is down at Curva Tramonto. And then they will make their way through the long back straight down towards Curvone. And then all the way to Curva del Carro at the bottom of the circuit. It sort of tucks back on itself, does Misano. It's a very interesting shape. It's almost like a T shape, sort of on its side, this circuit. There's the long sort of tail of the T, which is the main straight, and the back straight down turn 7 to turn 8. And then we have, of course, the back straight here at Curvone down towards Del Carro, which is the sort of top of the T as you go back around on yourself. It's a very tight and twisty circuit, this one. Very wide in a way, though. You know, I say tight and twisty because of the amount of chicanes and hairpins and weight transfer corners that they have here, where they have to go one way and then the other very quickly. But the drivers love this place. It is a humongous challenge for truck racers, but they certainly take it on and do a very good job of it. You can see the aforementioned fans on the top of the building there. It was the gentleman in the yellow shirt all the way over on the left-hand side. Certainly having a good time, and certainly a big fan of Stefan Faas from what we experienced. So here we go then, 2 Promoters Cup drivers on the front row of the grid, Stefan Faas and Jose Rodriguez. And they're going to get round 4 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship underway. And it looks like a very solid start by Stefan Faas. He's got a little bit of a nose in front of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, but up through the gears, it's very easy to just lose that tiny bit of time. Norbert Kish around the outside of Sascha Lenz. Andre Kurzim's getting clogged up in the middle of that there. There's a big check up down the inside. A little bit of contact, I think, with Steffi Halm, who's actually managed to make a place out of that. She goes through past Andre. He's been overtaken by Antonio Albacete as well. Antonio was actually on the inside line. I apologise. So he's actually just gained the position in terms of getting in front of Andre, but technically on the grid he was already ahead. But a great start by the pole sitter Stefan Faas. Was still not enough, though, to hold back Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. You can see there in the middle of the pack, Norbert Kish getting past Sascha Lenz, John Newell following on from then, Jonathan Andre at the back of the field as well. But a great start that by the 2 Promoters Cup drivers at the front of the field. It's so easy to overdo it with the pressure of all these big names behind you. You've also got Antonio Albacete throwing one up the inside there of Stefan Faas. He doesn't make it stick, though. And behind him, Steffi Halm wants to try and take advantage of that also. One of the penalty markers just getting tickled there and falling over gently on the exit of turn 8 at Curva Quercia. And then up to Curva Tramonto we go. Look at that around the outside of Norbert Kish. Goes Sasha Lenz. What an inspired move that'll be if he makes that work. I think he's gone a little bit deep on the exit though, or has he? No, he's still got the overlap actually as they go down the back straight. Great job by Sasha Lenz. Great commitment in the middle of the field. He's not quite got his nose in front though. And he's on the outside line for Curvone, so he's going to have to back out of this one. And Norbert Kish will take the inside line and ultimately will take the position as well. He pushes Sasha wide. I think that penalty marker... No, actually missed the penalty marker, which is amazing. Obviously, they know where it is, and we can't really see through the trucks to tell where it was. But still, everybody line astern at the end of the first lap. Leading the Promoters' Cup at the moment is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez from Stefan Fass. And then the third place driver in that class is actually John Newell down in 9th position. He's going to be very happy to try and take some silverware away from this. But look at the scramble out of the final corner. It's Rodriguez, Fass, Alberthetti, Harm, Kurzim, Hahn, Kish, Lenz, Newell, Taylor, Hecker, and Andre. Wonderful sight as they make their way into turn 1 again. As I said on the grid, it's such a fast first corner here at Misano. The real checkup is turn 2 as you go from the right to the left and manage that weight transfer over the back end. And then you have to get back on the power again and floor it round turn 3 towards turn 4 to get the most out of the vehicle. Apparently there are a couple of trucks under investigation for their start. They may have been either out of position or a little bit too quick off the mark. And that was number 18, John Newell, and number 81, Mark Taylor, which is definitely a curse of the commentator, I'd say, because I was just saying before how with the British drivers on the grid, I try to remain enthusiastic but not biased. Jochen Hahn there having to defend from Norbert Kish. That penalty marker getting a bit of a kiss there by Andre Kurzim. And there's no further action on the start that was under investigation. So that is all clear and sorted, which is good news for the drivers at least. They'll be pleased that they don't have to worry about that anymore. They may have been warned about it, they may not. But Norbert Kish now having a go at Jochen Hahn, trying everything he can. He's looking down the inside to just fill his mirrors for now. He's not got enough of an overlap to make an overtaking manoeuvre. Look at the way these things move through Curvone down there towards Del Carro. And Jochen Hahn in the middle of this pack will want to get past fellow Iveco driver Andre Kurzim, but he won't want to do it in a risky way that puts himself under attack from Norbert Kish. Stefan Fass holding on to second ahead of Antonio Albertetti at the moment. The first few laps, these drivers will just be trying to figure out the pace of the drivers around them, see roughly where they're at relative to their other competitors, and then they'll start to pick their moments and pick their battles and make these overtaking maneuvers that we oh so love to see. But Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is not able to break away from Stefan Fass here. He may have taken the lead down at turns 1, 2 and 3 on the opening lap, but he's not been able to make waves since then and break further away. But right now he's doing a good job of leading this at least at a solid pace. That's the thing. He could be leading this race and holding everybody up, and it would not look good for him, and you know he would be losing confidence in the fact that everybody can stay with him so closely and so easily. But no, as this goes on, he's actually opened up a tiny gap to Stefan Fass in that opening sector last time round. But then all of a sudden through there, Stefan closes in but gets very sideways on the exit of the corner. Penalty marker gets blown over again. Wiggles around in the wind as the foam gets completely creased. Now Stefan Fass needs to be careful here because, like I said about Jochen Hahn a moment ago, you need to be really careful when you're attacking and you've got another truck right behind you here. So if Stefan attacks Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, doesn't make it work, then he's going to have a problem in the form of Antonio Albertetti, who was also under pressure from Steffi Halm. That was Jochen Hahn there trying to get past Andre Kurzim. He's going to be on the inside for Curvone as well. I think he's going to be in a position to take 5th place, and he has. He's down the inside still. His nose is just in front, but look, Norbert Kish says, thank you very much, Jochen. You have opened the door for me. And through I go past Andre as well, and he has done an... Oh, even Sasha Lenz wants a piece of this as well. Andre Kurzim has been what we call freight trained. As, Sasha Lenz a little bit out of shape there, coming into turn 15 near the end of the lap as he goes into cover Misano. And he hasn't actually got the place off him, so he's going to be sat behind Andrei Kurzim now, right together as they go down the start-finish straight. He's over on the left-hand side. There's no overlap, though. He manages to get away with it. John Newell sat behind these guys as well. He's been working with Sasha quite closely. So he's going to be happy with the fact that he's got someone that he knows he can trust and work with in front of him. Maybe not work with him so much in the racing, because obviously everybody's against each other, but off the circuit, these guys are really good teammates as such. As Sasha Lenz throws one up the inside. He's locked the rear axle. He's gone straight on. He's gone completely across the front of Andrei Kurzim and come to a stop. And Andrei tries to get going past him and drives into the rear wheel of the truck. And Andrei's struggling to get going at full pelt now as well. Jonathan Andrei's caught up in that. I think Kurzim's actually damaged the truck. I don't think he can get going to full speed, can he? No, he has got going again. Flipping. That was a big moment by Sasha. He locked up the rear axle completely and it threw the truck around backwards. Antonio Albertetti now down the inside of Stefan Fast. A little bit of contact, a little bit of a wet and dry rub, as my favourite commentator Charlie Cox would have said. And through goes Antonio Albertetti. Now Jochen Hahn is eyeing up the chance to overtake Steffi Halm if she gets held up by this. There's a puff of smoke there as Stefan Fast locks up. But here is the moment for Sasha Lenz. Slams on the brakes, loses the back end, locks the rear axle, and goes completely sideways around himself there. Big, big moment that for Sasha Lenz. And it was great avoidance, to be fair, by Andrei Kurzim. They may have made a little bit of contact after that, but still, he managed to get it stopped very, very well without hitting him really hard in the initial moment. But now Albertetti up to second position ahead of Stefan Fast. He's put that buffer in between them now for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, and he can start to break away in the Promoters' Cup. He's a very talented driver. We know this. He's certainly going to be, I think, the one to beat this season in the Promoters' Cup. No disrespect to the other drivers, but he's just on a really good level, is Jose Eduardo. Obviously, he is in the Promoters' Cup in the Chrome category for the fact that he doesn't have as much experience as the others in the championship. He doesn't have the results to reflect it yet, but we know he's got really, really good pace. He could be on for an overall race victory here, like he said before. There's Norbert Kish, happy to sit behind Jochen Hahn for the time being. He knows that they're in a bit of a train, and that if Jochen makes a move on Steffi, he can then go down the inside and make a move on Steffi as well and take advantage of it. And look, there is the move by Jochen. Really big move down the inside into turn 4. He decides to duck out to the right-hand side. He's going to get a bit of a push here from Norby, who's going to encourage him to go through down the inside of turn 5. But Steffi's on the inside at turn 6. They're going to slow each other down. And look at Norby. Norbert Kish tries to take advantage of it, jumps to the left-hand side of them, side by side with Jochen Hahn. And there they are now coming into shot. Steffi Halm decides to defend the inside, very, very close to the inside line there. Norbert Kish breaks early, knows what's coming, and Jochen Hahn tries to get around the outside of his Iveco teammate. They are Die Bullen von Iveco this season as a team once again. A little bit of a kiss there from Norby to Jochen. Jochen tries to crowd him over to the left-hand side. He says, you're going to give, you're going to get. Into turn 10 they go. Jochen not running him out of room as such, but just making sure that he takes a late apex to maximise the run on the exit of the corner. And great racing once again between these two. You can see even a bit of a height difference there between the MAN and the Iveco S-Way of Jochen Hahn. It's Antonio Albertetti at the front of the field now, by the way. He's taken the lead of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Antonio won a race last season, and it was a long time before that. I think it was like 2017 that he last won a race before that one. So Antonio would be really happy to take a win here. That would be his 108th win in the championship. And I believe after this weekend so far, that would be his 281st podium. And that is obviously all speculative for now, because he's gone a little bit wide at the final corner, pushing a bit too hard, and goes wide of the apex. And Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is coming back at him. He's right up behind him now as they reach 100 miles an hour, 160 kilometers an hour down towards turn 1. Has a look down the inside, but then decides to go against it, because all the while he has to think about that Promoters' Cup lead rather than the overall race lead that he definitely wanted to chase. But Steffi Halm still holding off Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kish for now. Great defence by Steffi in the middle circle, sorry, the middle sector of the lap, I should say. Newell and Taylor in 7th and 8th place outright as well in this race at the moment, ahead of Hecker, Lenz and then Kurzim. Those guys both having that horrible moment. Unfortunately, the only driver that really was an innocent party there to that one was Jonathan Andre, who was just driving along, continuing on, and then all of a sudden he's faced with two trucks in the middle of the road. Taylor and Hecker and Newell had an easy way around it, but Jonathan Andre could not predict which way they were going to go. It's still Albacete then, leading from Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. The Spaniard leads from the Portuguese driver, and then Stefan Faas, the German, next up. Then it's a big line of German drivers with Steffi Halm and then Jochen Hahn, Norbert Kish from Hungary. In sixth position at the moment, 2 places higher than where he started. One of those, of course, being to the deficit of Sascha Lenz. Down the back straight once again they go. Fantastic shot there, just showing you how bright it is today. These trucks just look like complete silhouettes in the sunshine here at Misano. I've actually had to put my sunglasses on even inside because it's so bright here. I can barely see the screen here this afternoon. But the weather is absolutely gorgeous, and this is what we expect here at Misano. We've always had good weather here in the past. Even last season it was too hot, if anything. But as of right now, it's about 25, 26 degrees here in the northeast of Italy. It's gorgeous. Out of the final corner we go once again. Albacete opening up a little bit more of a gap now over Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Doing everything he can. Stefan Faas, he's dropped away a little bit now and he's under pressure from Steffi Halm, so this battle is going to begin any moment now. He needs to be careful about losing these places as well, because if Steffi, Jochen and Norbert all get through, then John Newell is the next in line in 7th place, and he's going to definitely see an opportunity here to go chasing Stefan Faas. The worst case scenario would be any sort of contact and damage to come from these 3 behind him when they try and get through, because they inevitably will. Antonio Albacete next up to go around turn 6. Had a lot of track limits penalties in the earlier race down at turn 6. I think we've had 1 or 2 through there so far. Yeah, 1 for Sascha Lenz and 1 for Jochen Hahn actually. In the number 2, we've had Heinrich Clemens Hecker getting a turn 16 black and white flag penalty. That is round the final corner. Not a penalty as such, but he's obviously gone outside of track limits or hit a penalty marker like that one that's flopping around on the ground there. Definitely screams, I'm guilty, Your Honour. Sascha Lenz has been able to recover from his spin pretty well actually, and he's overtaken Heinrich Clemens Hecker, I believe, just out of turn 8. That'll update the next time they complete a sector of the Misano circuit. But Andre Kursim, I think, has got a problem, and he just isn't able to put any better pace in at the moment. He's really struggling by the look of it. Jonathan Andre is only a couple of seconds back from him. This relentless attack here by Norbert Kish on the back of Jochen Hahn is never ending by the look of it. He's all over him at this moment in time. But I think, to be fair, from Norby's perspective, it's just a case of not being too close to the back of him, because it's so easy to just run into him if there's a bit of a check-up in the field. And we want to keep the racing as clean as possible, as is evident by the graphic at the bottom of the screen. 100% renewable HVO diesel in all of our racing machines, and it is at no cost of performance, noise, spectacle. It's beautiful. It really is. And like I said before, the championship aims to take so many sustainability measures. Speaking to Mache from Goodyear earlier, it was fantastic to speak to him. He's a really lovely bloke, and he was saying the same thing. You know, the sustainability can come in so many forms, whether it be the fuel, whether it be the tyres, you know, even just in the logistics of how the teams get from race to race as well. We can tune down so much in terms of this sport and make sure that it is sustainable, and it can be used in the industry as well. It's all technology that can be used elsewhere. It's not just for the sake of going racing and keeping it alive. It's for the sake of the industry as well, you know. The logistics and haulage industry all around the world, truck drivers everywhere, can adapt to this technology rather easily, you know, and businesses that can invest in it as well, they don't have a hugely difficult time getting this sort of technology into their trucks and into their companies. Norbert Kish all over the back of Jochen Hahn once again here, with Steffi Halm just in front. She's getting closer and closer to the back of Stefan Faas. I can tell you as well that Sascha Lenz, just at the bottom of the shot just a moment ago, has overtaken Mark Taylor, who's now under pressure from Heinrich Clemens Hecker, I believe it is. Yes, it is. In number 25. He's going to try and get back down the inside of Mark Taylor. Mark currently 4th in the Promoters' Cup, looking for his first podium finish of the season. We've had some more black and white flags coming through. Turn 15 for Steffi Halm, turn 4 for Sasha Lenz, and I believe that's the second one that he's had now. So any others, and I believe he will end up with a penalty of sorts. Look at the way that they bounce and hop and skip and jump out of the final couple of corners. That hairpin is such a mismatched corner for these sorts of vehicles of this weight and size and caliber. Jochen Hahn now suddenly piling the pressure on Steffi Halm. You know that he's going to want to try and get through as soon as he can. It's a big old gap from this train now back to John Newell in 7th place, but John won't mind that lot too much, to be fair, because he knows they're going to be fighting. He knows something could come of this, and he could potentially benefit and gain a few places from it as well. Jochen is once again going to try it down at turn 4, I believe, although Steffi defends the inside line. Jochen's gone for an overlap around the outside there, and Norbert Kiss tried to get his nose back down the inside, but decided against it. They've gone back as they were, a bit more single file on the exit of turn 6. And we keep it nice and clean down there. We're on the 9th lap of this race now. The counter on the left-hand side is how many laps of the race we have completed. So we're on to the 9th circulation of this race now. Antonio Albertetti has opened up his race lead, and to be fair, isn't looking like he's going to be challenged by Jochen Hahn or Norbert Kiss at this point. Like I said with Jochen before, it's his old sparring partner, and Jochen said that just Antonio is very old. But that's the great camaraderie these two have. You know, they've done some fantastic interviews together before. It'd be lovely to speak to them both again at some point in the future, because they are real stalwarts of the championship. Between the two of them, they've got over 1,100 race starts, you know, and then if you throw Norbert Kiss into the mix as well, you're talking over 1,500. It's amazing the amount of starts these guys have got when you combine all of their results and numbers. And Antonio's 58 years old, I believe, this year at the moment. So, you know, he's been around the block, like I say, Antonio, but there's nothing wrong with that. He's got so much experience in so many different racing machines, triple European truck champion. As, oh no, the race gets even worse for Sasha Lenz. He's got a drive-through penalty now for hitting the penalty markers 3 times. And the drive-through board is coming out as well. I can see it going up onto the gantry. They're preparing to show him. Big number 3 is held up. And oh, well, that says I'm guilty, Your Honour, doesn't it? Flipping X, Sasha. Got a penalty marker hanging off the car, or off the truck, I should say. I think he spat it out at the side of the circuit, did he there? Or did it come loose, or is it still hanging on? I think it came away from the truck, but we'll have to wait and see if we get the right-hand side of it again. But no. There you go. There's a look at it, actually. Caught on the front of the bodywork, bending away. And that's a real shame for Sasha Lenz. It's a very tough final race of the weekend. Certainly not helping him out. Steffi Halm is potentially going to be looked at here for overspeeding. She's now also been, well, looked at by Jochen Hahn, who's got past. He's now got into 4th position with a couple of laps left to go. What can he do about chasing down Stefan Faas and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez? Because it's taken them quite a while to get past Steffi, and I say them in the way that it's only Jochen that's got through at the moment. Norbert Kiss not able to make that position and move forward at this point. John Newell still in the background there, waiting to pounce, but he needs to be careful of Sasha Lenz. Well, I guess he doesn't actually, because of the penalty. He's then got a decent 5 seconds to Heinrich Clemens Hecker, has John, so he's on his way to another podium if he just keeps it tidy in the Promoters' Cup. Somebody having a bit of a moment there, you could hear it, the squeal of tyres. I think it was Jonathan Andre having a big old slide and a big moment. Easy to do down there at turn 8. This is lap 10 of the race. Antonio Albertetti at the front, just about to start the 11th lap of the race, and it'll be a very popular win if he can take it here, because I'm pretty sure he did this at the start of last season as well. He won, I think, the 2nd race of the weekend, the reverse grid race, because they had a failure or an accident in race 1. So Antonio won the 2nd race of the season here at Misano, and before that it was a good 5 years before that he won a race last time. Here he comes across the line. with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Stefan Faas still fighting over the Promoters' Cup victory as well. And if these two can finish on the overall podium and on the Promoters' Cup podium, there will be a lot of silverware to be celebrated by the guys. As round turns 3 and 4 go Norbert Kish and Steffi Halm through the pits. Goes Sascha Lenz. He'll be devastated about that one. That's one of those moments where it's unfortunately not something that the truck has let him down with. That was he pushing a little bit too hard, maybe frustrated by the accident earlier on. Easy to get the red mist. Let's look at the gap there between Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Stefan Faas. The two of them very well balanced, at least at this moment in time. Decent amount of time between the two of them as well. Norby having a go there at Steffi Halm. Looked like he just overdid it on the brakes a little bit there, did Norby. He was talking to me about being smooth earlier on, like I mentioned when we were walking across the grid. There's Andre Kurtim there trying to recover from the earlier accident. I think there's actually quite a big damage to the front left of that truck. The wheel didn't quite look right, did it? Might have damaged the tyre in a bit of contact with Sascha Lenz when they got going again. Sascha's still running, of course, but in 12th position. You only get points down to 10th in this series, so he will not be scoring any points from there. That's a real shame for Sascha because, like I say, he's had a bit of an up and down weekend, really. Yesterday it was race 1 that was bad and race 2 was okay. And then today it was race 1 that was good. Race 2 that's not been such a good race for them. So Antonio Albertetti is about to start the last racing lap of the weekend here at Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli in the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Keep your eye on 3rd place Stefan Faas in the black, red and yellow Tank Pool 24 machine, because there just behind him is Jochen Hahn. And would you look at that, a 10-second penalty for overspeeding for Steffi Halm. So that means that she's going to drop a place to Norbert Kish, whether Norby gets past or not. Even if he just sits right behind her, she's going to lose a place, I should say, maybe even more than that. 10-second penalty would take her just behind John Newell, actually, because there's a big gap from John Newell back to Heinrich Clemens-Hecker. So she would only lose 2 places in all of this, and even if Norby gets past, she's just going to lose the 1 to John Newell. John will be delighted with that in the 6th spot in his 4th race of the season. Oh, there was a piece of something came off one of the trucks there to the right-hand side. I'm not sure if that was a penalty marker that had been taken out or removed, but something fell off. It looked too small to be a penalty marker, so hopefully it was nothing that's going to stop any of these drivers from finishing the race. But here is Stefan Faas defending from Jochen Hahn. Jochen takes a late apex here. Look how clever he's playing this. Takes a late apex to get a run on the exit, but Stefan's truck is just parked in just the right place. Jochen's got a decent run, though, out of the corner. Oh, nearly getting run off the road there. You can see the yellow reflection of all the man filter branding on the bright chrome badge of the Iveco S-Way. But I tell you what, I remain unbiased in this commentary box, but there's not many drivers lovelier than Antonio Albertetti in this world. And he's a real star of racing, not just in Spain, but all over the world. There's a lot of people know who Antonio is. And his wonderful team, T-Sport Banau, came into this weekend with a brand new truck, a difficult qualifying, but a consistent performance throughout. And he takes the win in round 4 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez wins the Promoters' Cup. Stefan Faas gets an overall podium as well. And Jochen Hahn takes 2nd place out of those drivers not in the Promoters' Cup. 4th overall, Steffi Halm was 5th on the road, but will get a penalty, so it'll be Norbert Kish in the top 5. John Newell will finish in 6th place outright. And Heinrich Clemens-Hecker will be 8th behind Steffi Halm, who does eventually get relegated down to 7th. Andre Kursim next up. Mark Taylor, Jonathan Andre, and Sascha Lenz will be really devastated after that race. Not the result they would have wanted from the last one. But the T-Sport Banau guys will be absolutely overjoyed with that. Antonio Albertetti takes a race victory here at Misano. And that'll be a really popular result, that will. Everybody loves Antonio. they're a really good squad as well. Like I say, I'm unbiased. They're from the UK, a great squad, and a real bunch of workhorses, those guys. Honestly, I always joke that Tim Frost would rather the truck break down so he's got something to fix between races, because he just loves working on them so much. But there's your podium. A win overall for Antonio Albacete. The Portuguese driver Jose Eduardo Rodriguez caps off a great first weekend in the championship. And then in third position, going the way of Stefan Faas. He'll be really pleased with that as well. An overall podium and a Promoters' Cup podium. So two of the drivers that we get there will get 2 trophies for all their troubles at this point. There's a fan in the crowd that's decided to light a flare, apparently, to wave to the drivers and give them their congrats. It's an interesting way of going about it. I saw smoke and thought someone was doing a burnout or something, or some donuts on the infield. But to be fair to him, he's keeping it away from everybody, so it's okay. But there you go. There's your podium making its way around in a lovely V formation. Antonio Albacete in front of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Stefan Faas. Great drive by Jochen Hahn through the field as well to hold off Norbert Kish. I'm not sure if Norby was told about the penalty for Steffi. It was very well that he could have been. And he didn't want to then make the move at the end of the race and try and overtake, because there would have been no point trying to force the issue and maybe risk his race. And I can see Jose Rodriguez down on the pit wall, the father of Jose Eduardo. Very happy indeed. He's on the phone already celebrating the result with whoever he's speaking to. That he's very happy. It's awesome to see. Jose Rodriguez, a driver that's been in the championship for a long time. He has joined us on many an occasion. And we hope to have him back, of course, one day. But they're focusing their efforts this season on his son, Jose Eduardo, who, like I mentioned, was part of a trio of drivers that were the first drivers to have 3 generations of their family on track at once. It was Jose Eduardo, Jose, who's his father, and then Eduardo, who's his grandfather, and all 3 of them were on track together at Jarama in 2016. There's Jochen Hahn after a really solid weekend, to be fair, for Iveco. I think Jochen may still lead the championship after that race as well. Antonio will have made some good waves and gained some points on them. But there he is. I love that shot. That's a fantastic shot. Whoever choreographed that one. But T-Sport Banao and Antonio Albacete take a win in the first race meeting of the 2023 season, and it's certainly good for number 23 in 2023 so far. Brand new MAN for them as well. And great stuff for our Promoters' Cup front row as well. The entire front row of the grid was Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Stefan Faas. And they get to celebrate not just Promoters' Cup podium results, but overall podium results. And look at the amount of fans and people here ready to celebrate the achievements of our drivers. And hopefully in just a moment we will see Antonio Albacete step out of his truck and celebrate with the team. I can see Tim Frost and the gang down there ready to welcome him into their arms. They'll be giving him a big hug, that's for sure. And here he is, the boss man, Antonio. Job well done, sunshine. Job well done. He walks over to the team, gets a big round of applause. And there you go, big hug, big celebrations, great stuff. And a big smile from Antonio. Like I say, one of the most lovable drivers you'll ever meet, Antonio. And he really does deserve that. Great stuff from Stefan Faas and team. Huge smiles there in the Scania. And he's loving it. He's absolutely loving it. He was cool, calm and collected before the race. But now he's a very happy boy. Look at him. Great. I love to see it. You can probably hear that I'm smiling a lot as well. It's awesome. Really awesome. And Jose Eduardo Rodriguez there having a good laugh with Antonio. Big congratulations to Jose Eduardo. What a great first weekend in the championship for him. A great debut in the series. There's Tim Frost getting a big hug on the left-hand side. And Antonio is now ushered away for an interview. He's going to go and speak to Alice in just a moment. And the celebrations continue on. We've got Janine Meyer there on the right-hand side, bless her, trying to tell him, get on with it, Antonio. Come on, you were really fast in the race. Now be really fast to our interview, please. He gets the hat on from Tim Frost as well. And I believe now we are going to get Antonio, who's going to have a quick chat with Alice down there in the pit lane.
Thank you very much. I'm here with overall winner Antonio Albertetti. Antonio, talk us through that race from your side.
Well, I mean, it was a good race, you know. I mean, to finish the weekend with a win is perfect. I mean, and thanks to the whole team because it's been a great weekend, I think. And yeah, I mean, I start third position. I was looking a little bit how the guys in front were, you know. And then I just said, okay, I think it's time to go through, you know. If not, it's gonna be late. So I go through with Stefan. And then I think that Jose has a little problem in the braking, so I go through easy, no problem. And then since then, I just want to control the race. I see that also Norbert and Jochen was stuck on the back, so they don't go through. So I was said, okay, take it easy. I think it will be good for us. So yeah, very happy.
You won here last year as well with Misano. Is it the circuit? What is it about this place that you like?
Well, yeah, I mean, I like Misano and I like the sunny, you know. But yeah, also yesterday was good. But yeah, I mean, I think we have to be a little bit faster on time practice. This morning I was not on a good move, you know. I make some mistakes, and I hope I will be better in the next one.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Really lovely to see Antonio. Prime, you know, he's still cracking on and he's still getting the race wins and the podiums. And there is your result. 3.5 seconds the gap back from Antonio Albertetti to Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, who has had one hell of a debut weekend in the championship. Stefan Fast finishes in third position with Jochen Hahn next up in fourth. Norbert Kisch finishing in fifth place, ahead of John Newell, sixth place overall for John, and a really strong result. Steffi Halm relegated to seventh due to the penalty that she received for overspeeding, but still solid championship points after what was a very difficult start to the weekend. Heinrich Clemens Hecker finishes in eighth place overall and grabs some valuable points as well, ahead of Andre Kurzim, and Mark Taylor gets another top 10 this weekend. He'll be really pleased with that. Jonathan Andre finishes in 11th place with Sasha Lenz down in 12th after what has been a very shaky start to his campaign. Lots of ups, lots of downs, and Louis Requenco unfortunately did not take part in that final race, but we look forward to seeing him again, of course, at the next round of the championship. Said next round of the championship will be at the Slovakia ring on the 10th and 11th of June, so we've not got long to wait for that. We've only got a couple of weeks until we will head there, and last year we were there, it was absolutely baking hot. We're talking, it was over, 40 degrees most of the weekend, and my apologies, it's 3 weeks, isn't it, until we head to Slovakia. But let's go for the overall podium. Stefan Fast finishing in third place. Look at how happy he is. It means a lot to him to get this great result for Tank Pool 24 and a big, big smile on his face. And second place, joining him on the podium, like I've kept saying, an amazing debut weekend for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. And next up behind them in terms of the podium presentation, but still right ahead of everybody at the front. You can hear just how much this is a popular result with Antonio Albertetti taking the race win. And now they're going to bring the trophies out. Stefan Fast gets one first. The German driver is certainly making waves in the Promoters' Cup this season. They've got rid of the bad luck that they had last season by the look of it. Next up, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. He's got a really good silverware collection after today, hasn't he? The reigning French champion. Awesome to see. And I remember some of the performances we saw last season when we were at events that included that championship. There were so many great drives. We knew he was going to be quick. But Antonio Albertetti takes another one. He still holds the record for the most podiums in this championship. That is podium number 281 for Antonio. And now we will have the Spanish national anthem. And there you go. The Spanish national anthem rings out across Misano for Antonio Albertetti. And now the guys will line up for their photos up on the podium. Trophies held aloft. And some big, big smiles from up there on the podium. Great result. Very popular podium, that as well. And now they change their hats, or at least Antonio does. Needs a bit of guidance to pick the trophy up again, but look, he loves it. This is what I mean, you know, Antonio's been doing this for a long, long time, but he's got so many podiums to his name, but he still appreciates every single one. He's still so passionate about his racing, and he still really enjoys himself and puts his all into it. And it's great to see drivers that have been doing this for so long and still appreciate each and every one of those results. Here is a look at your championship standings then. After the first race meeting of the season, Jochen Hahn leads the way on 45 points, 6 points clear of Antonio Albertetti, and 9 points clear of Norbert Kirsch. He's only got 4 points over Sasha Lenz, so Sasha's not lost out too much after that last race of the weekend. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is 5th overall in the championship, tied with Andre Kurtim on 27, ahead of Stefan Faas on 24. Next up is Steffi Halm on 14 points, John Newell inside the top 10 on 10 points overall, and Jonathan Andre also 10th place, 7 points for him. Behind them we have Heinrich Clemens Hecker on 6 points, Mark Taylor on 3, and Louis Requenco on 2 points, which means that everybody this weekend in the championship has scored some points, which is great to see. Okay, we go from the overall podium to the Promoters' Cup podium now, which is going to be 2 of the same drivers that we've already seen, but another trophy going the way of John Newell. A great start to his campaign as well. And some lovely silverware. He said the whole time that the truck's been getting better. It's not quite where they want it at the moment, but he's feeling a lot more confident in himself that he can get these results out of it with a truck that isn't as optimal as they'd like. Stefan Faas is welcomed back to the podium with a big smile still across his face. This time on the second step of the podium, as this is the Promoters' Cup. And then behind them, once again, up there on the top step in the Promoters' Cup, is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. And the young man is going to do a great job as well in the Young Drivers' Championship that we have this season. We have a Young Drivers category for drivers under the age of 30. Unfortunately, at this point, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is the only driver involved in said category, but at the end of the day, you've got to be in it to win it, haven't you? Stefan Faas receives his trophy for second place in the Promoters' Cup. And then, after them on the podium, but ahead of them on the circuit, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. And he holds the trophy aloft, and we're going to get the Portuguese national anthem. And there we go, the Portuguese national anthem. The last one we'll hear this weekend here at Misano, but a fantastic weekend all the same for our drivers in the Promoters' Cup. We've got a great fight between them going on at the very start of this championship campaign, and I look forward to seeing how that develops at some of the circuits that we head to as this championship goes on. It's a very interesting calendar this season because, as I've said to some of the drivers and the people I've spoken to about it, it's not a circuit, or a calendar of circuits at least, that you always see in every other sport. You know, we've got a real niche selection. The Slovakia Ring, going to Poznan as well, going to Most. You know, there's a very interesting selection of circuits here that's going to really shake things up for drivers that don't have that much experience. 59 points, though, for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez at the top of the pile to the 49 points of Stefan Faas. And Jonathan Andre in third place on 31. 30 points apiece for John Newell and Heinrich Clemens Hecker. 21 points for Mark Taylor. And then 12 for Louis Requenco. It's great first meeting, I'd say. Really, really good fun to watch. And speaking of watching, let's watch back some of the images from that fourth and final race of the weekend. So in the beautiful sunshine, we had drivers staying cool, calm and collected, as Stefan Faas was saying at the front of the grid. There were so many great opportunities here for Promoters Cup drivers alike and some of our Titan category drivers to take a win. Great battles early on between the top three in last year's championship, Norbert Kish, Jochen Hahn and Sascha Lenz. Eventually, unfortunately for Andrei Kurzim, the three of them trying to come through very, very quickly. There was a bit of drama though as Sascha locked up the rear axle trying to overtake Andrei Kurzim. This would drop them both down the order by quite a lot of position. Andrei, unfortunately, having to stop just to avoid the incident in the first place. Great battling going on as well between Jochen Hahn, Steffi Halm and Norbert Kish, but it was Antonio Albertetti that was the one to rise up through the order quickly enough to get to the front and start to break away from definite Promoters Cup favourite Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Sascha Lenz would get a drive-through penalty after hitting too many penalty markers and even taking one of them with him in the later stages, which would drop him down to the back of the grid. But the fighting going on all the way through the field was entertaining as ever, and a great podium involving two of our Promoters Cup drivers, with Antonio Albertetti returning to the top step once again. Great celebrations down in the paddock and a really, really popular result. But what we're going to do now is head back down to said paddock or pit lane, and we're going to have a chat with Alice, who's got an interview for us.
Thank you very much. I'm here with third place from Promoters Cup, John Newell. John, talk us through the race from your side.
Oh, it was very, very good. It was a bit hectic at the start, and then everybody got sent to get in a groove, and then Sascha and Andrei Kurzim had a little bit of contact and come off and moved us up to P7, I think. And then I was just looking what was going off behind me, just trying to hold me third place in the Promoters Cup, not worrying too much about the ones in front. And I think we ended up finishing sixth overall and third in the Promoters, which is 2/3 a second, but I got disqualified yesterday, so we've had a cracking weekend really. We can't grumble at first time here.
And how do you feel moving on to the next round now? You've got a chance to get a vibe with the truck and the rest of the championship. How's your competition going to fare?
Yeah, it's good. We've got a lot of problems with the truck at the minute, what we need to resurrect. Once we get them right, we should be a lot more competitive, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
John Newell, a real star. He's been in the British Truck Racing Championship for quite a while, and now he makes waves in the European Truck Racing Championship as well. A really, really good intro to his campaign. So, there you go. We'll have a quick look at the upcoming races in the championship. 10th and 11th of June we head to the Slovakia ring. Hopefully it's not even half as hot as it was last year. We then make our series debut at the gorgeous Tor Poznan in Poland, and then we go to the Nürburgring for the International ADAC Truck Grand Prix on the 15th and 16th of July. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful series this season. But that's all from me here at Misano. Chaz Draycott signing off for the weekend. Thank you very much for tuning in, whether you may be watching on TV all over the world or on YouTube streams as well. And we will look back at some of the fantastic shots we've had this weekend at Misano.